never a really dull moment, is it, at West Ham, with drama and whatnot? But I'll tell you what, this Lucas Paquetta thing, it's really a West Ham thing, isn't it? It does feel like that. Just typical, really, especially when things are starting to look good and think, we start bringing players in and the mood's starting to lift, of course. Then there's always that something waiting around the corner. And then we got it, didn't we, with the news that the FA have launched an investigation into Lucas Paquetta. So before we just sort of talk about where we are with it at the moment and where we think we are at with what the information we're getting back at the moment, let's just go through exactly what has happened and what's come out. So it appears that what happened was that Betway, funnily enough, good old Betway, actually that side, Betway, they were alerted to the fact that some huge bets were being made at random, all of a sudden, in Brazil, on Lucas Paquetta and another player in Spain, I believe, getting a yellow card in a match last season. So it was the game that West Ham were playing Aston Villa, I think it was, 1-1. So basically what it was, I think people set up these accounts really quickly, put the maximum bets on they could. Paquetta's going to get a yellow card in this game, and lo and behold, Paquetta gets a yellow card. And if you look back at the challenge, I think it was in the 70th minute of the game, I think. And yeah, it's just a reckless challenge. The evidence doesn't look good, does it? Let's be honest. It isn't great when you sort of, and apparently all these people know, I think they're relatives of Paquetta and friends and stuff. And I think they're all from the neighborhood he came from. So it's a strange one. And basically, Paquetta's now got to go to face an FA inquiry and answer some questions, and probably some quite difficult questions regarding what's gone on. Now, the player is understandably denying any wrongdoing and saying, no, nothing to do with me, blah, 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 blah. We'll get back to the video in just a second, but I just wanted to let you know this video is actually sponsored by CIRCL and specifically their game 5 Match Millions. I'm going to be honest with you, okay, that we're very picky about who we work with on the channel. For the West Ham Way, we are. And when they approached us to sponsor the channel, we said, well, okay, but I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll basically use your app for a couple of weeks just to make sure that we're happy with it. I've got to say, it's really good and very addictive, I'll warn you. Basically, the way it works is they pick 5 games for the weekend, Premier League football games, okay? And each game, you pick a number. You can do it either randomly, or you do a lucky dip, or you pick the numbers that you want. And the way it works is that it's numbers from 1 to 27, and basically the die will spin depending on what happens in the game. So if there's a throw-in, it moves 2 places to the left. If there's a yellow card, it goes 4 to the right. And basically, wherever it ends at the end of the game, it'll land on a number. And if you get that number, then you win. So basically, you can win up to £1 million if you get all 5, okay? And the first, so if you match 1, you get your money back plus a couple of quid extra, blah, 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 blah. And basically, I think even if you match 3 numbers, you get 75 quid. So it's very, very good. And basically all it is £2 a week to play. Now, if you click on the link below and type in West Ham Way, next weekend's games, you get absolutely free and get to give it a go. So why not just give it a go? Got nothing to lose. I've got to say, it's really, really good. And as I say, I've won already twice. It might be beginner's luck. It might well be beginner's luck, but I'm definitely going to carry on playing. But so click the link below, West Ham Way. Good luck. What needs to be clear, let's just make things very straight, because obviously we're talking about something a little bit delicate here. The player has not been accused. He's not been found guilty of anything at the moment. So we can't sit there and you don't want to tarnish his reputation here, because he could be completely innocent in this. And that's the way we need to. And let's be honest, you're innocent until proven guilty. But the accusations are that's what's happened. That he's obviously deliberately got a yellow card, and people that his family and friends, whatever, have benefited from that by setting up accounts with Betway. Now, Betway have alerted the football or the regulators that there was a problem, or there's something suspicious going on, which is just typical. So they've alerted them, and then this has now come to the FA's attention, and they're going to launch an inquiry, or they have launched an inquiry already. Now, where we are at the minute is, firstly, let's talk about the Man City thing, which is probably a good thing for West Ham, let's be honest, is that it looks like the Man City move is now completely dead, which we talked about in a previous video. Unless, of course, he can be proved innocent before the window closes, possibly. But let's be honest. I mean, where are we now? As I record this, we're the 21st of August. So I think this video now will be the 22nd. So the chances are it's not going to be dealt with in a week, is it? So I don't think there's going to be much chance of him going to Man City. Man City are going to take the risk, are they? Buying a player for 90-odd million quid, and then they come in and they go, oh, he's been banned now for a year or whatever. I don't think that's going to happen, by the way. But I'm just saying that I cannot see Man City taking that risk. And also, as well, it's Man City's reputation, isn't it? if they're going to, it's a very strange thing to do, to take on a player that's under investigation for something that could be very serious. We don't know yet. However, the way we understand it at the moment is that Lucas Paquetta has not placed any bets himself. Okay, so he hasn't gone in and try to benefit any money, make money personally himself. So let's just make that clear. So that it appears that his account's set up elsewhere. So the way it's looked at the moment, we've had an update from XWHU employee. Now, don't forget, XWHU employee is only providing his opinion on this. This isn't like it's fact and this is what's coming out. But if you look at the history of players that have been accused of betting things, when it's not them that's involved directly, it's very, very difficult to prove any wrongdoing. Very difficult. Not to say that he won't. Not to say that this is all done. Don't worry about it. Forget all about it. But it's difficult. The only way, if you think about it, the only way it's really going to be proven is if there's something in writing, an email, a message or whatever saying, do this and I will do that. Let's just say that. So unless that stands, it's going to be very, very difficult. Unless it's obviously goes to police matter, which I can't see that being the case. So it's hard to see where this is going to go at the moment, but it's also hard to see it getting kind of proven. Do you know what I mean? Unless there's some sort of massive, huge amount of evidence there. So at the moment, it appears that it's going to be very difficult for the FA to prove any real wrongdoing. Obviously, it will come out in the wash. We don't know. Let's wait and see what happens. But that's where we are. Obviously, the benefit for West Ham at this stage is that we are likely to be retaining Lucas Paquetta for the time being, at least until January, you would imagine, and possibly even beyond. So I'm going to be honest. I think that's a bit of a bonus for us because he looks in good form. He was excellent against Chelsea. So I mean. It's a difficult one, isn't it? It's difficult because you don't want to feel like you're cheering the fact that West Ham are benefiting from a situation like this, but at the same time, you can't help it. I'm a West Ham fan. I can't help but go, well, I'm kind of glad because I don't want to lose Paquetta. Last thing we wanted was more upheaval. We just lost Declan. Lost Rice. I don't want to keep calling him Declan. I've been told off for that. We lost Rice. And I don't want us to be losing Paquetta. That's the last thing we wanted. So, it's one of those things. And as I say, I can't see it being resolved anytime soon anyway. Look at the Ivan Toney one. Ivan Toney one was far easier to deal with because it was from his account because he's been known to now have a gambling issue. So a gambling problem in his life. So you think of all the evidence there, it was just a case of surely going through his betting account and looking what he's been betting on. So, and look how long that took. So I can't imagine if it's involving other people and it's not Paquetta and they've got to investigate it. You can't imagine it's going to be a 5-minute process. So I would say that this is not going to be resolved for quite some time. And as I've said, at the moment, you get the feeling, if you look at the history of players that have been accused of betting and irregularities, etc., and suspicions, they rarely get in any trouble for it because it's so difficult to prove. Not to say I'm agreeing with that, but I'm just saying from a West Ham standpoint, forget all this, all that kind of stuff. From being a selfish standpoint of West Ham fan, it's probably a bit of a benefit to West Ham at the moment because it looks like we're going to keep Paquetta. And it looks like he'll continue playing. And let's be honest, if he carries on playing like he did against Chelsea, then I'm certainly not going to be complaining about that. I've got to say as well, parking all what's going on, full credit to Lucas Paquetta as well, because I think he's handling it very well. He's carried on. He's carried on playing not only with this going on, but also with the speculation of the Man City move. There's many players that wouldn't have done that. There's many players that have, look at, is it Notto at Leeds, refusing to play and I want to leave and I've got Premier League clubs interested in me, I'm distracted and all this stuff. Look at Lucas Paquetta. He's just gone about his business, big smile on his face, no issues at all. He had a move going to go and play for Pep Guardiola, chasing Premier League titles, Champions League titles. I mean, he's not going to get that at West Ham. And has he sulked? Has he thrown a strop? No, he just seems to be, doing very, very well. The manager was very complimentary of him after the Chelsea game, and rightly so. I've got to say, I'm really impressed with him. Really impressed, and much, as I say, parking the accusations and all that sort of stuff. As I say, he's innocent anyway, and to prove him guilty, he's handled that well. Been training. He played well against Chelsea. You wouldn't have known there was anything up with him. Possibly the first half, a little bit slightly out of character, a couple of bits and pieces, but ultimately, I thought he was excellent. Second half, he was outstanding. So here we are. That's where we are at the moment. I mean, as I say, this has got a long way to go, this investigation. It's not going to be a 5-minute affair. But as it stands at the moment, West Ham appear to be in quite a strong position with this. It's very unlikely Man City are now going to go to move for Paquetta for reasons I've just stated. Paquetta's now unlikely to be dropped. Well, he's not going to be dropped, is he? Because unless, of course, he's found guilty, which, as I've just said, it's unlikely they're going to be able to prove anything. Very, very, very difficult to prove. So really, all in all, this is probably not a bad situation for West Ham. And as I say, if there is anything, hopefully there isn't any wrongdoing. If there is, it's going to be very difficult to prove. So let's just hope and pray that this kind of gets dealt with in the way that we want it to, and we get to keep Lucas Paquetta at West Ham for longer than anticipated.